In this second tutorial, we're going to put a navigation bar on our website. Now to do this, we want to make sure that we're on the master page because we want to be able to see the navigation bar on all the pages. So from the site panel, I'm just going to expand master pages and just double click master A to make sure that the eye icon is there and we know that we're on the master page. So I'm just going to collapse that. From the quick build panel on the left, I'm going to drag the navigation bar icon to the web page, and then I'll be presented with the navigation bar settings. And from here you can select a whole range of navigation bars, all of various different styles, horizontal and vertical. I'm going to go with block 10, which is a nice big navigation bar which will show up pretty well on our website and on this video. So I'm just going to click OK, and there it is on our page. Now it looks good. The only problem is that the blue of the buttons almost matches the blue of the background, and that does make it harder to see. So I'm just going to change that, and I'm just going to change a few other things. So the first thing I want to do is to actually change some of our scheme colors. So I'm just going to click on the pasteboard, and that will just bring up the standard context toolbar. And I'm going to click Color Scheme Designer. I want to change scheme color 4 to a light gray, so I'm just going to click More Colors, and I'm just going to put in a hex value of DA, DA, DA. And I'm also going to change scheme color 5. I want that to be similar to scheme color 3, but in a green color. So what I'm going to do is just drag down scheme color 3 to scheme color 5. I'm going to click More Colors, and I'm just going to switch around the amount of green and the amount of blue. So I'm just going to swap them over. And as you can see, that's given me a green that's roughly in the same tonal range as the blue. So I'm happy with that. I'll just click OK and OK again. Now I'm just going to double click the navigation bar, and that brings up the navigation bar settings. So I want to change the look and layout, so I'm just going to click Appearance. From here we can make changes to the look of the navigation menu. Because it's a little bit crowded, I'm just going to close this panel on the left. In the bottom you can see we've got the various button states of normal, down, hover, disabled. I'm just going to double click background to make sure that we're working on the background. I'm just going to get rid of this line that's around this quick shape. So I'm just clicking on it, going to the line panel and setting the width to 0. I notice there's also another line just at the top and the left, so I'm just going to click that. I'm just going to delete it. There's also a shadow, so I'm going to again select it, and from the styles presets I'm going to go down to shadows and select no shadow. Now I want to change this blue to a silver grey type colour. I'm just going to click on it, and from the swatches I'm going to make sure that the fill is selected rather than the line fill. Just going to right click, format, fill. I'm just going to edit this gradient by clicking edit, and the first node in the gradient I want it to be our scheme color 4, and I want it to be a little bit darker, so I'm going to give it a shade tint of -20. For the last one I'm going to also select scheme color 4, and there's already a shade tint of +28 which makes it a little bit lighter, and that looks fine to me. So I'm just going to click OK and OK again. I'm just going to resize this white area so that it matches the size of this quick shape. I'm just going to move the quick shape right into the top left corner. Now I've noticed that when I do this, if you look at the button states, the eye sometimes shifts from the background to normal, but the background is still selected. I'm just going to try that. And that seems fine. You can see the eye has moved to normal, but it's still the background that we're working on. I'm just going to make a copy of this background. And the first state that I want to change is the disabled. So I'm just going to click on the quick shape that's already there, giving this darker look, and just delete that and anything else that's there. And I'm going to press Ctrl-Alt-V, which does a paste in place, so it will place it in exactly the same position as a quick shape that we copied. I actually want to rotate it, so using the top right handle, when you hover over it, you get this little cross, and then if you hover a little bit more to the right, it's resized, and then it goes to rotate. So I'm just going to rotate it 180 degrees, and that just looks slightly different to the background, and you'll be able to tell that that's actually a disabled button. So I'm now going to go to the normal state. I'm going to select the text, and I'm going to make it bold. You'll notice when I made it bold, it changed all the button states to bold, and that's because in the toolbar up here, you can see that change all text is selected, which means whatever change we make to the text, it will happen to all the button states. Okay, so I'm going to change the color to blue, which is our scheme color 3, and that's what our normal state is going to look like. For our down state and our hover state, we're going to make another change. So I'm just going to click down, and I'm going to delete this background, and I'm going to delete this line as well. And I can't change the background, so again I need to paste the background from here. Since I've already copied it, it will still be in memory, so Ctrl-Alt-V pastes it. I just want to change this to a green gradient. So I'm just going to select it, and you'll notice in the swatches, since the line was the last thing I deleted, it's defaulted back to the line fill. I'm just going to select the fill for the quick shape. I'm just going to right click, format, fill, and then edit, and the first node will be our scheme color 5, our green. You'll notice that it's keeping the -20 shade tint, and then last node I will make again scheme color 5, and it's keeping the +28. So you get this nice bright green. I'm just going to click OK and OK again. You can see the button text sort of merges with the background. So I'm just going to select it, and this time I'm going to deselect change all text. So when I make this color white, it will only affect the down state. Okay, so I'm going to copy this background, Control C, go to hover, and I'm going to delete the background there, delete the line, Ctrl-Alt-V, select the text, make the color white. Now the last ones I'm going to change are menu right. I just want this arrow here that indicates there's a menu to the right to be blue, so I'm just clicking on it. I'm going to, from swatches, change to fill, and I'm just going to click scheme color 3. For menu below, same thing, click on it, scheme color 3. And I think that's our menu changes done. So I'm just going to click commit changes, and we can see here's our menu. You'll notice under products it's demoing what a submenu would look like, and you can change this in exactly the same way that we changed this top level menu by going to pop-up menus and clicking on edit the button design in the button studio, and you'll go through the exact same process. So back in the appearance tab, I just want there to be a space between these buttons. So for horizontal separation, I'm going to put in 5 pixels. That looks fine. Okay, so I'm happy with that. So a couple of things I'll point out is that I've got highlight current page ticked, which is a default setting. So whichever page we're on, that will have the green color rather than the silver. And make all buttons the same width. So they're all going to be the same width, and that will be determined by the largest piece of text. So products is probably the largest, or about us, and that will determine how big the button size is, and that will be the same for all of them. I'm just going to click OK. You can see that that's changed on our navigation bar. I'm just going to zoom in. You can see at the moment it's saying home, page 2, page 3, page 4. And it's getting those page 2, page 3, page 4 from our site structure. You can see that in the site panel, we've got our pages 2, 3, and 4. And we're just going to go ahead and change those. So I'm just going to select page 2, right click, page properties, and give it a more meaningful page name. So for example, about us. I'm also going to specify the page title and also the file name. Now the page name is what appears in the site panel. The specified page title will be what appears in the top left of the browser, and the file name is actually the name of the web page itself. It's really important to make sure that the specified page title, the page name and the file name have some keywords in them, so things that are meaningful to your website. So for example, if you were doing TV repairs in London, you made sure that you included TV repairs London, about us, or about us repairing TVs in London, so that search engines can pick that up. So I'm just going to click OK. I'll do the same for page 3. I'll call that services. And also for page 4, I will call contact us. And I'll just click OK. You can see that it's changed the menu to reflect those page names. Now if there was a page that you didn't want to appear in the menu structure, you can just right click that page, page properties, and deselect include in navigation. So that may, for example, be something like your terms and conditions or confirmation of message sent. I'm just going to click OK. And what I want is for this to be, I'm just going to go back to the master page. I'm just going to drag the menu up, and I want it to be about 20 pixels from the top. So what I'll do in the right, using the transform panel, I'll select pixels from the top to be 20 pixels. In terms of being right, I want it to be 10 pixels away from the end of the page. Now I'm just going to zoom out. I've added some columns and some guides, but also I want some margins on the side. So what I'm going to do is go to Edit, Site Properties, Margins, and I'm going to add in a left margin of 10 pixels and click Balance, and that will also just put in a margin of 10 pixels on the right. You can see we've got these margins on the right now. I'm just going to go ahead, I'm just going to resize the navigation bar just a little bit smaller so that it all fits. Whoops. And I'm just going to move it to the right. There we go. So that's in the right position now. I'm going to do a site preview, and that would be File, Preview Site in Mozilla Firefox. And as you can see, there's our navigation menu exactly where we wanted it. When we hover over it, we get the nice green. And when we click on a page, once that page is active, you can see there it's now about.html. That button is green as well. Okay, so we'll continue working on our website, and the next tutorial will be up in about 2 to 3 days time, and we'll try to add a graphic to the left and some heading and some text.